Got
Hi
it.
chat. Hi chat.
How's it going, everybody?
Hi chat. What's up? What's up? What's
Go
up?
ahead and mark the channel. All right, we're good. We're good.
All right, so that was interesting. There's a couple of stories that came out of that for me. One was that I think what they kind of planned to happen for this event happened, and that was the nephew pulled a G out of nowhere, and basically won for his team.
Right.
So that was like story number one for me. So that was fun. That was interesting. That was kind of what people thought wouldn't happen.
By design, that's what this is intended. That's completely the intention for this format.
Absolutely. And then the second thing that I thought, this is what I think is super interesting going into the following weeks, right? Is Just a Kid was almost undefeated. So with Jury, right? So he's playing what I guess many people consider to be a low tier character. He
Bewildered to my own bewilderment. I think Jury is in the middle, mid-tier at worst. She's not top tier, but she's somewhere between middle and good. Like she's not top tier, but somewhere in between there.
Yeah, so I guess some of the questions that I have for someone like you, as you know, like I'm like the casual viewer and you're like the pro, right? So it's certainly like you've played at the pro level, right? Like I mean, I remember you when you were Jibbo. I remember you when you were when you were like the best Gen player in like the US. I remember you when you were top 8 Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which we all know about because your username.
All right. Keep it going. Top 8 with Yuri in at one point.
So I have a couple of I have a couple of questions, right? One of them is, well, before I ask you the questions, first thing I should say is that Toy's team is really interesting now because do you ban Toy's Bison, or do you ban Just the Kid's Jury? Because
that's a good point.
It's the first team, I think, where you're like, I'm not sure.
It's a decision to make now. And it's not a week. It's not like they have 1 week where they're playing and then they improve the next week. It's pre-recorded, so I'm pretty sure it's like they have a night to work on their secondary character. I
was going to say, interestingly enough, one of the commentators at the Times just now said, oh, he had a week to improve. So I'm a little bit confused whether they're faking that or if they're flying people in every single week. I don't even know where it's being filmed, but the idea of flying people in every single week, all of those players all being available every single week, being flown in, the expense, time, and all that stuff doesn't really make sense.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money in ticket expenses. Like, why not just do everything, or like most things in one weekend? Or like do like 4 episodes in 1 weekend, then fly them out a different month, do 4 more episodes, something like that. That seems a lot more cost efficient and better for the players as well. It's like to be able to travel every week to do this event, and where they're probably not making any money. Maybe they get a stipend or something like that, but it's probably much more cost efficient to condense the amount of time that players have to travel.
Right. I'm just confused by why one of the commentators said, oh, that week they had to like practice, that week in between really helped. Hey, maybe I misunderstood that comment, but to me it would have made more sense to get them into the 6 teams, right? Film 2 or 3 episodes a day over the course of 2 or 3 days,
Yeah, something like that.
But I don't know the answer to that. Maybe somebody in the chat does.
Yeah. I mean, Brian F just went live. El Chocote just went live. they weren't there, so it's pre-recorded. That part we can pretty much deduce. But as far as like how much they're filming in a given moment, I mean, I think it's whatever is cost efficient for them. And I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Maybe I would like it if they joked around. Like if they said last week or next week what's gonna happen, but they said it in kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it is an interesting vibe. It's definitely a different vibe from normal. There's it's quite quiet. There's not a lot of music going on. There are a couple of people I said this last week. There are a couple of people I feel who seem very suited to the scenario. Toy being one of them.
100%. I think Toy and Idom are contrast. Because they both have something in common where their character is like the first thing to ban. They want to ban their primary character because their secondary characters are whack. But Idom doesn't have the personality or leadership to really carry his team. Like, he doesn't contribute nearly as much as Toy does on the other side of it. And Toy, his birdie had a fighting chance today. He gave Justin a run for his money. But he also provides an energy that makes the team feel like a family. And he has good coaching advice, too. And he's good on camera. So I think the way Toy is doing it is excellent. Not to say Idom, whatever, but it's interesting to see that dynamic.
I was going to ask you if you had a tier list of captains. Right now,
I don't think that far ahead, my friend.
No. I mean, like, who do you think? You just said that Idom. You think possibly not as good a captain as maybe Toy. How do you feel about, for instance, let's say Punk and Knuckledoo?
That's an interesting question. We can think about it because we got.
Oh, let me give you my perspective while you think about it. Right, I think that Punk leads by example. But he's not the guy who will sit there and give you advice, I don't think. Or whereas I think Knuckledoo is the guy who is kind of quiet, probably won't shit talk too much in that sense. But when he gives you advice, it's probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to lead, obviously.
I think they're capable. I think both Punk and Do are capable of giving good advice. So I think being a coach is more than just that. You have to be trustworthy. The person that you're coaching has to believe you, and you have to say it in a way that it makes sense, and they trust what you're saying, and then they'll do that, and they'll apply it in the match, and they believe in you so much that they know it's going to work, and they're going to go to the next thing, the next available step, and they can continue playing their game and go back to what they're comfortable with. Because when you're playing, you don't always observe everything. So if you, as a coach, can see the things that is the biggest problem, and then present it to them in a sentence, and then they can, okay, that's what I do. I'll forget about that part. I'll do what he says, and then do the rest of what I've been doing correctly. That is an important feature of just being a coach.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and that's why I wanted to ask you something else, which is on Brian and Justin's team, what was happening to Psycho was that there was a moment which I loved watching, but there was a moment where Brian had a shitload of stuff to tell him, and Justin also did. Right, so Psycho was sitting there. Psycho had just finished a match. He lost a match, right, as Nikali versus Jury, and these guys came at him from two sides. So Brian F had like three things to say, and Justin had like three things to say, right, ranging from kind of broader to more specific, right. So this guy had to take in like 6 things, and then I guess decide how to like implement that into his game, and then jump into the game, right. Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, he did actually win the next game. Yeah. So how would you react if you were in that scenario? Would it be too much to take in? Like if you had two people like this in your ear, like, because it's useful information, but what you just said to me is it's better when it's like
condensed,
1 or 2. Yeah.
So you can say all those things in a short form, and it really, I think it depends on the player and how much you trust the information that you're getting. Like, if you're capable of even digesting all that information, so it can be fine. It can be totally fine. But I think to target the main, like Justin Wong was jumping away on Wake Up. That's the first thing that I would talk about, and then the rest of it, just clean it up. Like that's you're failing on this Wake Up because he's jumping away. Do you know the answer for that? All right, great. Look for that next time, but don't look too hard. If he doesn't do it, then fair enough. But you got to be aware of it because he's getting away with it. But beyond that, if somebody else gets more advice, it might be hard to choose between which one should I focus on. But if you can do all of them, great. Sometimes it's bad advice. Maybe you can recognize that they are not giving me the correct advice and then do your own thing. And that could cause some tension. But, at the end of the day, the right call is the right call.
If you were in a team scenario like this, I mean, you have, because you must have played Street Fighter Cross Tekken as a 2v2, right?
Yeah.
Did you play that year? Because that was the second year, right?
Yeah, I was teamed with Arturo, me and Arturo.
Okay.
And YC Furby.
So did you feel more pressure in a team environment than you were on your own?
Yeah, because I can't control what happens. You know, and well, it's a special scenario because we practiced online maybe 1 or 2 times together. We practiced online together, and it just was not enough to feel fully confident and prepared. It was definitely the strategy of, he's my friend, he's a strong player. All right, let's just try to make it work. And then when we get there, you don't have that air of confidence, even though we both believe that the other person is fully equipped to be, high level player. This guy can get the job done. Working together, and you feel like, like you gotta like swallow it. Arturo lost the match. That was clearly his fault. I believe we can keep going. So it really depends on that relationship, that player to player relationship. Because there was definitely moments I remember when me and Arturo, I tagged him out in a really bad part. I did the wrong tag at a part where I was like, okay, I'm gonna die, and I think I can get away with this, so I'm just gonna shove him in the match. But he was so mad when I did that. He couldn't focus on the match. I remember his tone of voice, like, why'd you tag me out? Exactly. What were you doing? Why did you do that? So yeah, I remember that. And that's the other problem is pressure. You might make decisions that are out of your character that are just bad. You think like it's gonna work out, but it doesn't. And then your teammate might get a little upset.
Yeah, I always think that it's interesting because whenever I've interviewed players, I've often recently been asking like, why do you play fighting games? Why don't you play FPS? Because like you're all talented players, right? Why don't you play like FPS games or team games? And a lot of it comes down to, I don't want to rely on anyone else, and I don't want to let anyone else down.
Yeah,
that's why I play fighting games. So it's interesting watching them in this sort of environment because some of these players, for instance, the ones that maybe have gone 2 weeks and haven't really contributed much, could go into a bit of a downward spiral, because of that team dynamic. At the same time, just a kid could be really feeling himself right now,
Yeah.
So, I'm starting to see more and more, for me at least, more and more interesting things in regards to the team dynamic. I still feel like this is proof of concept because I feel like it's just the FGC watching at the moment, and I think the actual design is designed for a broader audience.
Yeah.
And I wonder how they're going to explain to the broader audience the actual impact of not being able to use your main, because I don't think that's coming across right now. We get it as FGC, right? But I don't think like as a non-FGC person, they're sort of making enough of that point. Like there's like I almost feel like there should be analogies, like explaining like why taking your main away, what it's like,
Yeah.
It's like some dumb analogy, like it's like losing a leg or something, like this is how bad it is, like
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
Well, just so people understand what's at stake, because like if you're going to bring in this banning characters thing, and you do want to reach a broader audience, because that must be what it is if you're banning characters, because FGC generally are fine with how it is.
Clearly inducing drama.
Right, exactly. So maybe I've been interested to see if maybe they'll figure that out as we go along. I do think they've recorded this in a block, because I didn't see much change from last week to this week in that regard, but maybe we'll see that in the finals. I wanted to ask you about Just a Kid and Jury.
Can I clean up on that point from before about how these two things are connected? How fighting games are like some of the beauty of fighting games is that everything is on you. It's all a part of you. You can't blame anybody else. But that's like the antithesis of what makes other games more enticing, more special, because you got a team. You have some seemingly random elements and things that are outside of your control. So if I lose, maybe it is my fault, but I got all these other teammates that I can blame and feel better about playing some more. In fighting games, you can't do that. You can still blame a tier list, a Justin Wong tier list. You can blame some kind of matchup or that kind of thing. That's there, but the only person that exists is you and the person that's sitting across from you. That's all there is to it. But this team format in Street Fighter League is combining those elements of team, but still in a 1v1 format. But then you got these wacky, zany elements that also contribute to the viewer experience. And maybe the players might find some enjoyment as well. It seems like I don't want to get off topic, but some players are taking it very seriously. Some players are having fun with it. Maybe the players who are more comfortable, more established, Punk, Justin Wong. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I think Justin Wong was taking it lightly. You know, I'm gonna play Fog, I'm gonna joke around, have a good time. But that last match where Toy called him out, like, we don't care, we're just gonna ban Karen, we'll take on your Manat. I think that hit him a little bit, like, oh yeah, you think you know, you remember? I'm gonna show you who I used to be. I'm Justin Wong, and I like how he cleaned it up. That was really entertaining for me.
Yeah, actually, why did they ban? Well, is that just a psychological move? Like, what was that?
If I have a read, I think they had no clue who to ban, so they just went with the strategy of, we'll just show out we're confident. It don't matter who we ban. And I think that they wanted Chocote to play Justin. Justin against Armika. That would have been a good matchup. But Chocote didn't get to that point. He lost. But Toy almost pulled it through with his secondary. That was really entertaining. That almost happened. And then Just the Kid's storyline, he almost OCV'd, but he didn't. And then Justin Wong. So maybe the ban, as a result, fired back because it made Justin take it seriously. Maybe if they did ban Manon, it would have been a different story. Who knows?
It seems odd to me that, I mean, I don't know about the matchups, like, but it seems odd to me that they wouldn't ban Manat. But what I'm wondering, what I've been thinking about, like, since the last time we spoke, you know, one of the biggest things that was bothering me was this idea that Idom will never get to play Laura, right? And I remember at some point you were saying, this is kind of a little bit like reality TV, right? Now, reality TV, depending on what you watch, a lot of it can be extremely scripted, and some of it can be a little bit looser, you know. So it does make me wonder if at some point potentially the producers or somebody will step in and go, all right, this round, like, we gotta let him have like one game, you know, off camera. We gotta let him have like one match where he can play Laura. I don't know. Like, obviously I don't know, but yeah,
it doesn't sit well when you look at Idom and you see, you know, he's one of those players that you have that vibe, like, why isn't he sponsored, which is a whole different subject, but people want to see him be successful. So to clip his wings and just get rid of his main character, it's kind of a bummer, but it is a talking point. It is something that we can talk about and feel bad, like, whoa, man, this is terrible. And that is part of the show, I think.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, exactly. That could is part of the show. Yeah, like if you're talking about reality TV, that is part of the show. Poor old Idom, you know.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a lesson learned for them. Not in a bad way, but they might try to figure out a way to make players more valuable. Because Toy is doing a good job of making himself valuable outside of the game. Idom, that's not in his skill set. I mean, I love Idom, it's cool, but I don't think that's where he is. That's not what he's equipped for. I think he came there to play Street Fighter, show how good he is with Laura, and that's it. But this environment, it has opportunities for more, for showcasing your personality and your ability to build a team.
Yeah, I would agree. This is
Toy's team feels like a family. I really feel like they are, like, they depend on each other. They're really cool with each other now.
Well, yeah, I mean, Toy is. I didn't know. I knew of Toy, obviously. I knew the name. I knew that he played Bison, and I've seen some of his matches. But as a personality, you know, things like the CPT and so on, you generally get the matches. You get some visual comedy. You know, like Smug is very good at kind of using the camera to show off his personality, but this is a little bit more in close. You know, I love when you get to hear what they're saying. I wish they would actually turn the mics up a little bit more on those guys so we can hear what the hell they're saying to each other. Because I really do think that's one of the strongest elements of this show, right? Is that sort of, you know, it's a team. Can we hear what the team is saying to each other? You know, but I do think the Toy, as you say, is very well suited to it. Seems like a good captain because looks like he cares about his other players. Looks like he's leading from the front, doing the shit talking, sort of having the. He's got the confident bravado, even though I think he's lost, like because you know he's not playing his main. He's lost the last few weeks. but he still has that confident bravado that that overlaps onto his players, you know, in his team.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he's really taking advantage of this situation. It might just be how he is,
Yeah.
but like I think as you say, there's much more opportunity right here than just winning with Laura. You know, like, so I don't know if Idom has it in him or not, but it would be great to see some more of Idom's personality because he's a very sweet guy. But you know, obviously, you can't force people to do anything. To do what they don't want to do. Anyway, I wanted to go back to something that I was wondering. Just a Kid with Jury, right? Now, I don't want to take anything away from Just a Kid, but do you feel like there's an element of, you know, like Jury is just this character that potentially you don't come across as much? Potentially you, even though you could say like on the tier list, I think she's mid-tier because of these tools, you know. But do you feel like there's an element of, I don't really know the Jury matchup very well?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to check because
it's not just a matchup; it's the pilot too. So you don't know how good the character really is. You might say, okay, she has potential, but have you experienced that? And then you got to put in who is putting the decisions behind the character as well. So Just a Kid, pretty inexperienced, but he's grown so much that now he's making Jury look like something that people aren't used to. So he is good enough to make that character look like something special, and I think that's important to point out. So Jury as a character by herself takes some work. It almost reminds me of Sagat, where if you don't have this little thing optimized and this little thing optimized and these 4 things put together correctly, oh, then he looks terrible. If you don't have your V trigger, if you don't have confirms here, yeah, why are you playing him? But if you put all those things together and you're doing it as a confident player, it's like, wait a minute, Sagat's not that bad. So I think Just a Kid is having the same effect with Jury, where he has a lot of things well thought out. He plays the game so... Dude, that dude has one of the most... He's like top 10 or something on the CFN boards.
He is?
He's like whatever Warlord, Blue, whatever, past Grand... I don't even know. And he plays on PS4. What? How do you live with yourself? So he plays a lot with Jury. So, I'm glad to see it. He's going to have way more matchup experience than anybody else there with Jury.
Yeah, it just reminds me more of like, remember when Cien played as, you know, obviously you know this because Cien was probably your senpai, right? Or whatever, as the Gen player. I remember when he played Takedo, obviously, because Takedo's my favorite. Well, I've always loved Takedo. But I remember that grand final at Evo, where Cien won Evo, and fair play to him because like where he came from, there wasn't much of a he trains in a completely different way. He doesn't have players of his standard where he is. He has to do things completely differently. I mean, Cien's actual whole life story is amazing, but regardless, that grand finals, Takedo was just completely lost, right?
Yep.
He had no idea what to do against Gen. Like, he was like
strategy. I've been doing it for over 10 years. I'm the same way, man. I'm from, like, back in Third Strike, I'm from North Carolina. If you weren't New York, if you weren't California, who cares? So we had a strong crew, but I always felt like I had an advantage if I picked characters that other people didn't respect, they didn't know about, and I knew I had a talent for developing those characters. I'm like, this is going to give me an edge in uncharted territories where they don't know about me. Like, if they don't know I'm good, they don't know this character's good, so they don't know what's going to happen. And I've had some success. I've had quite some success. Cross Tekken, I did the same thing with Sagat. Like, a good friend of mine thought Sagat was bad. I was like, oh, I'll show you. Nobody played Sagat. Nobody. Infiltration played Sagat. He played my team after I played it. He straight up X-copied my team. So yeah. I was like, okay, let's look at what Sagat has. And then I just, put the fundamentals, put the boots on the ground. Bada bing, bada boom.
I think Cien's the same because he started with Fong, and I predicted that he'd start with Fong. And when he at that very first tournament at final round in 2016, I interviewed him and I said, "Are you playing Fong because nobody knows the matchup?" And he was like, "Yeah, straight up."
Mm-hmm. Too bad Falk wasn't. Too bad Falk. Not Falk, but What you mean? You mean Fang?
Fong. Yeah, Fang. Fong. Sorry, I call him Fong because like
that's what the game says.
Yeah, because that's what the game says, and like I just got used to it. That's all.
Well, yeah, Fong back when in season 1, he had a really tough time because the input delay was so atrocious. You just had to guess. His view reversal was actually pretty good, but yeah, in the knockdown situation, he could not survive. But it's different environment now.
Now, I wanted to move on to something else. Again, a question for you because like I don't play at your level, right? And I haven't played in those tournaments, but the psychological element, like the Punk does so well. Like I think he said something along the lines of like how long does it take one to become Taquito Jr. Some shit, which was like the best fucking.
It was hilarious. It was like a Game of Thrones type dialogue in the Punk voice. Literally, Punk's voice was saying it. I couldn't believe it.
I don't even like it was so good that I find it hard to believe for a second that he came up with it like like
on the fly perhaps
in the moment, just because the wording was so good. But he was basically saying, to me he was basically saying like, because Samurai. So Samurai is kind of like that, like he's very serious. He's kind of like he kind of looks like a monk, and you kind of feel like he's a monk, and he's like following in the footsteps of Taquito, and he's optimizing everything he possibly can, all that stuff. But I've seen Punk versus Samurai before, and I've seen Punk try to distract him, like when they were sitting side by side at an event, and Punk tried to do all the funny stuff and distract him and blah blah blah.
Oh, with the hats, I remember that.
With the hats, right? And I remember thinking at the time, Samurai don't, please, Samurai don't, because like I wanted Samurai to win because he's an Akuma player and like he's been getting better and better and he puts a lot of work in and all that stuff. And I was like, don't. I was like, Samurai, don't engage. Don't fucking engage. Don't engage with Punk. Don't engage in this bullshit, because the minute you do, you're gonna lose your concentration.
Yep.
Like just stay in your own world, like, and don't engage. And he was doing that, and he was doing. I don't remember. I think I remember he was doing okay, and then he engaged, like with the hat, like he ripped Punk's hat off his head.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah. And I'm pretty sure he lost that match. I don't know if the chat can remember.
I don't recall. I think the same thing happened to Toy when he was playing Justin. Like, there was a round where the critical arts happened, and he won that round after the critical arts. He recovered first, and he happened to mash on light kick, and it hit Justin. He took the round, and Toy looked like he popped off, but it looked like he thought he won type of popped off. Like, he thought he won. He thought he beat Justin. And then there was another round. And then for half of the damage that he took, I think he was still recovering from realizing, oh shit, I gotta play again. So by the time he got back to his normal competitive self, it was too late. Justin Wong was already too far ahead. What's up, Mike? I see you. Double barrel. But yeah, I do think that you need that laser sharp focus, especially in Street Fighter V, where you can't make any mistakes. Any mistake can cost you the match because of how volatile the offense can be.
Right. Yeah. It was interesting. Like I said, it was interesting listening to them talk to each other, taking a turn back, momentum, this kind of thing. I just love that stuff, man. Like particularly when the player himself who's playing says, I said it last week, but I'll say it again. But particularly when the player himself who's playing just shares what's in his head. When like last week, when Up to Snuff said he's trying to do this, so I'm doing this. But also very interesting when the other players jump in. It's a little bit different from the commentators. Sometimes the commentators spot it, sometimes they don't. They got a lot going on, the commentators,
Yeah.
But the players are just sitting there and they're sort of seeing what's going on. And I think that's the strongest element for me. That's the bit I look forward to the most, is those conversations. Until we get to the finals, because right now, the round robin is like, the matches, there's a lot on the line, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot more on the line. And therefore, the games will become more interesting,
Yep, Dew's team losing to Nephew could have an effect on the later game, because right now Punk's team is 2-0. They're the only team that's 2-0. And Knuckle Dew, his team had the potential to be 2-0, but since they lost to Nephew's team, they're just 1-1 like a lot of other teams.
All right, so talk to me before we, and then I want to talk to you about MK11 and or we
Sure.
can actually we can talk to the chat a little bit about Street Fighter, but
Yeah, we're like half an hour in. We're good.
yeah. That's why I'm just trying to move a bit faster than last week because especially since this was 3 hours this week, so
Really?
we're a lot late. Yeah, it was 3. It was like from 7 till 10.
What time is it? Oh my gosh! All right, what's the next subject?
So these guys have been through. Well, we've been through 3 hours, and these guys been through 3 hours of round robin. So it was quite a lot this week. But I wanted to ask you about the G thing. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Right?
What are we talking about here, Mark? We're talking about the game. We're talking about spots. Talking about gangsters.
Tell me about it, man. Was it surprising to you to see nephew pull out G? Is G an easy G an easy character to pick up and just random people out? Like, what's going on, man? When you saw nephew doing that with G? What was going through your head?
G is good. I don't know what the hubbub is about with G being low tier. I think he's solid enough, and his robbery factory is his robbery factory. It might as well be a factory. It's high enough where he can turn situations into like an incredible blowout. So the character is solid. He's got a projectile, good anti-airs. He's got ways to build his V trigger through his V skill with the combos into it and anti-airing with it. What was surprising to me was when G first came out, I feel like Cammy was big trouble for him because of the dive kick. His anti-airs weren't incredibly strong. They don't have the invincibility that you really need for Cammy's dive kick, and then the angles. So it was almost like, and I'm judging this online and before the input delay patch came out when I played G, the Cammy being able to jump and then change her angle and you having to predict or react and then against her jump attacks, that to me made it feel like it was challenging against Cammy. So what I used to say is you have to be the pack leader as G. So spin kick is good against Cammy jumping. So if you time a spin kick when you think she's gonna jump, you're gonna anti-air with it and you get the knockdown, bada bing, bada boom. And nephew did use that to some effect, the spin kick, anticipating it, and Cammy can just wait for it and then react and easily anti-air you. But G is such an explosive character that if you do get that meaningful read, that meaningful hit, you can just shove them into the corner. If you got a V trigger, you open it up, big damage, command grab. It's no surprise, G's very strong. He reminds me of Season 2 Laura, Season 3 Abigail, though not as powerful. But the same way people are like, this character sucks when they first come out. And then over time, they're like, okay, wait a minute, this is a threat. And then they buffed his health. I don't know what else they changed, but the health buff and the input delay change, that could have a big effect on G. So, and time. Time is such an underrated factor. His nephew has been playing G since he came out. I remember him playing G
okay.
before when I went to a tournament with Sagat. I forgot which tournament. I was playing Sagat. I actually lost his toy. He was playing G at that tournament. So he has a lot of experience under his belt with that character.
Okay, that's what I didn't know. I was trying to figure out whether G was kind of easy to learn, as a secondary.
That's an important point, because I think if you were invited to this Street Fighter League and you didn't have a secondary prepared already, you're probably in trouble. Because I don't think you have enough time to... Most people can't develop a character and play them at a high level in a short amount of time. So whereas the people who are already prepared, Punk, he is sitting pretty because he's been playing secondaries. He's been, he plays whatever in any tournament. Just, okay, sure, I'll play this character this time. I'll play Chun-Li. I'll play Nikali. I'll play Colleen. So he's already good to go. Banning Punk, his character is not strong at all for that reason.
That makes sense. Do you should we see if the chat has any questions regarding Street Fighter League? I know that Mike wants me to do some more rapping off the cuff. I noticed, so I will certainly bring that into every single episode.
I'm down. If the chat has anything, if not, we can talk about some Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, we can do that in a second.
Is there
for
anything
sure.
else I want to talk about? Oh, there is one thing I want to talk about, which maybe we're not prepared for. It has to do with Arturo.
Okay.
Let's see what we got. It's a nice change of pace from the CPT grind. That's a good point. who's going to finals? Is it like a big event, or you mean like the teams that are going to finals? I think Knuckle Doo's team is the strongest. I think, and Punk. I think it'll be Punk and Knuckle Doo.
What about Toy and Just a Kid?
Well, Toy not having a good secondary might break it. Anybody, I think no teams have a 0% chance of winning.
Except for Item's team.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I'm not even messing.
Well, they got Samurai. I forgot the other person on their team, but maybe that could be it. Man, the player picks. I wonder if there's a sense of regret from some of the team captains. Like, man, I didn't put together a good team. That would suck. Do you think they should expand to a 5v5 format? That would make the character bans weaker.
Yeah,
in a good way. In a good way, I think.
It's weird. I thought that once myself. I was like, for some reason in my head, I was like 4. But yeah,
that could be an interesting idea.
It would. The bigger the team, obviously, the less the character ban would be a problem. Also, if you had a bigger team, you could actually have a rule where you said that one person can't be banned 2 weeks in a row. You know, and then the ban would still have some meaning.
I thought of an idea myself, and it sucked. But there's like a gut feeling that we shouldn't have somebody be able to ban their character constantly. But maybe that's symptomatic. Like, maybe that's not the thing you should change, but maybe something like increasing the team and having more members of the team. I don't know. It's hard to think about. Because I thought, like, why don't you let the teams ban their own characters? Doesn't make any sense. You just ban the characters that don't play. But there's like this desire to maintain the value of a player because they only play one character. And maybe this is just a growing experience, and more players will start to pick more than one character and get better with them if they do another Street Fighter League. I think that could be the case. That probably should be the case.
You got Phantom Crush talk. Well, a few people I think talking about, you know, maybe having this happen in all the regions, and then having like some grand finals. I think that's one of the special things about Street Fighter is the global bit.
That would be sick, but really difficult to execute. I mean, kind of speculating on what we speculate now. Like, maybe they're flying out players for a week, shooting 2 or 3 episodes, and then flying. Then, if you add the expenses of international players, then it becomes more problem. And then you got visas. That would be a nightmare. So, while I think that would be incredible, like, the communities from Europe, Japan, they're like so passionate about their players in Street Fighter V, to have them go up against like a well-constructed, like this is the best team in America. We're gonna put them together and see who's really the best. That would be so sick. But the execution part, that would be, I think, I don't know. That'd be a nightmare.
It would indeed. Actually, Home Muffin has a question which maybe we should talk about a little bit afterwards, which is the Echo Fox situation.
You got it, man. You got it, man. I'm out. That's a tough one. I try not to talk about racial politics. I try to leave that off my stream, but I know we can go over it. We can see. I'm not well researched on it, but I want to dodge that bullet, man. That's not a good one. That ain't a good one.
Okay, it's your stream. I'll do it on my stream tomorrow. I
want to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, my thoughts are just like, you know, it's hard because it's just sprung out of nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's true that there's this sort of, you know, person who sits in a very important role at Echo Fox, you know, as important as Rick Fox, or maybe even more important than Rick Fox, who is, you know, throwing these slurs around on email, and it's true. That's, you know, for me, that's obviously highly unprofessional. And again, I keep saying if it's true, but if it's true, how do the players react to that? You know, like how does Sonic Fox react to that? How does Knuckle Doo react to that? How do you know, like, and I don't know the answer. Yeah. This is day one, but you know, like, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, because I think the players are going to have something to say. I think Sonic Fox could probably, if it's true, if it's proven to be true, Sonic Fox could probably have the right to walk away from his contract, possibly, based on those grounds, and go join somewhere else. I don't know, but it's
who knows, man. All I know is FGC sponsorships are a blow up.
Right, but this doesn't even just affect the FGC. Echo Fox affects
absolutely
a lot of things. But it's it's, to me, it's, if it turns out to be true, I think they're gonna have to like oust this guy, and if they can't oust this guy, then I think that team is gonna implode, basically.
Yeah, that's all it takes is one bet. It could be false, but if enough people believe it's true, then it's the reputation is gonna be. It's always gonna carry that stigma. It's not going anywhere. That's the unfortunate part of internet and dispersion of information on Twitter. You just, man, people just see an article, they don't even read it, and just have a full-out, blown opinion of what happens and what should be, wave the finger without really researching it or waiting for evidence. I don't want to talk about it. If it's true, it's a tragedy. And it tells you, and it means a lot more, there's more to the story, because I'm sure it doesn't end at that point. But if it's true, yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to see. I don't love trial by, and that's why I kept saying if, and that's why we both keep saying if, because obviously trial by social media is kind of garbage until you've actually seen some facts. But for Rick Fox to actually walk away, I kind of feel like I don't know much about Rick Fox because I was born in England. I didn't really follow basketball, but he seems like a trustworthy guy, and from what I hear, he's good to work with, looks after the people around him, is a great guy. So
walking away is a strange move, but the details, I don't think you'll ever get to them, and then who knows.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, NK11. You want to talk about NK11?
Yeah. That's a really weird subject.
Why is that a weird subject? I don't have it yet. I don't actually have it yet.
Well, I have it on PC, so I don't have it yet either.
Okay, yeah, I'd seen the memes floating around. I saw everybody would try to make it work. They couldn't make it work, and they all got it on like PlayStation and Xbox and what have you.
Oh man! So I was graciously gifted from not only a subscriber but a friend of a friend. He gifted it to me because he loves Mortal Kombat. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a fair shot. I tried to load the game. It unpacked for over 40 minutes, and I was like, maybe it's better if I just stop the preload and re-download it again and then try it again. I did that. 2 or 3 more hours passed. I had to unpack the same way. I just had to wait it out. So I finally got the game started. I tried the game. I started learning things in training. I'm like, okay, I can see the data. The UI is a bit frustrating. All right, I can try to look past that. No big deal. Some weird cryptocurrency on the side. Whatever, not for me. Cool. I don't need Sub-Zero in a hot dog costume to play the game. I'm not worried about it. I go to training mode, and then I'm trying to learn how to program things so I can test sequences and just understand how frame advantage works in the game. And then I'm like, where's the feature to playback? So I go back into the menu, and then there's a playback option, and then I see something that's for playing the recording back. I play it, and I'm like, are you serious? There's no way to use what you recorded and then test against it? And then I go to Twitter, please correct me if I'm wrong, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, you just got to go to the menu and then go to the right and then go to playback there. I'm like, great, I'll do that. I did that. I began testing stuff out. I'm like, all right, that's how this works. Game crashes. In the middle of trying to learn something, I'm finally like trying to fish and hook and like starting to understand mechanics. Game crashes. Can't use that feature. Did it 2 more times. So I learned about tournament variations. So the game, by default, does not have the characters equipped with what you're allowed to use in tournaments. Maybe rank matches. I haven't gotten that far yet. So on PC, I was learning how to equip the tournament variations. I looked at a YouTube video. It was for PS4. I'm like, okay, maybe I can learn how to do it with this format. And then, the guy, he went through the sequences. You go to this menu, you go to this menu, you go over here. Then you got to copy and paste this. Go to presets, and then use that and apply it there. And then boom, you're good. I'm like, all right, let me try it. Went through the same process, and then when I hit the square button, it didn't open up the presets for me. So then I had to look at a YouTube comment. It said you got to click on load presets. I was like, all right, I'll click on it. I clicked on it. I equipped the preset. Game crashed. I was like, fuck. So it was quite a frustrating process to just get into a position where I can learn how to play my characters. And that left a really bad impression. However, I started to learn how knockdowns work. I finally got into the nitty-gritty of, the exchanges, frame advantage, learning how zoning works, the flawless block. I'm like, okay, the record feature, we'll just look past that. We'll just forget that's there. We'll just, ban PC from... Did you hear about that? They banned the word PC in the stream chat for the NRS Twitch chat.
No, I didn't. That's brilliant. Really, that's amazing.
Okay. But, I'm starting to learn how the game works, and I'm getting more and more interested in applying it. And I love that feeling in fighting games when I'm learning a new skill and I suck at it, and then I sleep on it, and then I come back the next day. All right, that's second nature. What's the next thing I do? And then I get different ideas, and then someone in the chat is like, okay, you hit this button, anti-air, and you can combo to the shoulder. I'm like, oh, yeah, really? So does that mean I can use this attack and then combo into that? How much corner carry does I have? So I'm starting to get the wheels. This is like throwing coal into the furnace where Street Fighter V is not there anymore. There's no new content, and I'm like, not that interested in some of the characters. I just want to play Sagat. So I would love for there to be a new character in Street Fighter V, but until then, I got something else to, work on with a chalkboard. Well, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Right now, I think even if I look past all the PC problems, I would give the game an 8, and it can go down to a 7 or a 9, depending just how it plays out. I don't know. I feel like it's a roller coaster ride when you sign up for Injustice, Mortal Kombat. There's a patch coming out of nowhere whenever. Tournament next day, big patch. I don't know how it's going to play out. But maybe that's part of the fun.
Well, I hope you can get it working because as a streamer, I think you'd get a lot of fresh eyeballs because today Sajam had like the most I saw, but I was only checking in every now and then. The most I saw was 2,700.
It's crushing
viewers.
Crushing it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's getting host or what. I think it's just all on his I would assume it's just his record.
It's partly because it's a bunch of different things. One is that his content is very good because he does a lot of teaching like you do. The second thing is he has Magic Moist who makes his videos for him and pushes out 2 or 3 of those. Yeah, he pushes out 2 or 3 videos every single day. That's huge. That's what Harris used to do. So, like, basically, you bring over all these people on YouTube who don't see you live and then decide, oh, it's worth checking this person out live. And then, I think he normally averages like 500 to 800 or something like that. And then he did a really, really, really good Yunis tutorial. At least he did some, it was good, but the best part about it was probably the way he marketed it. It was like, I'm the guy to come see if you want to learn. I'm going to show you the process of learning a game.
And now, it's a really good strategy.
And now it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to do it all over again, but with Mortal Kombat. So, I think, for you, it will be good. Once you get the game going, it's going to be great because people will definitely be tuning in to learn how to learn a game, because you're going through the process of learning. So
yeah, that's a fascinating subject because the impression is that tutorials, like videos that are explaining how to do something, they don't get as much attention as a drama type video. But there is a market for it, especially when a game first comes out. That's where I get a lot of views. When new characters come out in Street Fighter V, people are going to my stream first.
Right. I think the other thing is that it's live. So there's an element of people asking each other questions in your chat, and there's an element of you answering questions in the chat. Whereas a tutorial video is a little bit lonesome. Like you sit there on your own, you watch a tutorial video, about 5 minutes in, you think, oh, if you're anything like me, you're about 5 minutes in, you're like, Christ, oh God, I'm a bit hungry.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's live,
That's interesting.
You know, you can watch the chat, you can see them interacting, reacting to what's happening, adding to what's being said, correcting if it needs correcting, challenging the person who's talking.
It's a new type of classroom. I never thought about this, because you can have
So
people that are just twiddling, throwing spitballs, throwing paper balls at the back of somebody's head in the chat, but it doesn't affect you as a streamer. I mean, it can. I mean, if the chat is too uninvolved, it can affect the performance, I guess you can say, or the lecture, or however you're approaching it. But it's like a team effort. We're all figuring this out together, and I'm giving you this information. You can just have it on in the background. You're not required to pay attention. Sometimes it's just nice to hear somebody talk about something that they're an expert in.
Right, and it's like a small class, right? So, but the class can talk to each other. So it's like you're doing the tutorial, and normally if I'm watching a tutorial video and I get to the bit where I'm like, I don't understand what he just said. I don't get it. I write my question in the comments in YouTube, and then I wait a week for somebody to get back to me. Whereas, like in this medium, it's just like in the chat, ask a question, somebody else who's more than happy to answer the question. People in chat in the FGC are like New Yorkers when you ask them directions. They couldn't be more happy than to like.
Is that how it is?
Yeah, they couldn't be more happy than to show off their knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Like you walk around New York, no one wants to talk to you, right? You ask them anything else, they're like, "Get away from me, you."
They want to be.
Weirdo.
They want to be first. Right? I asked what the input delay was in Mortal Kombat while I was playing it. Like 6 people, 4.4, 4.4, 4.4, 4.4. Like they just want to be first.
Right.
Pick me, 4.4.
That's what FGC chat is like. I swear to God, it's like people will just ask a question and then 15 people are in there like straight away with like an answer. I love it. It's just so funny.
You gotta show off your knowledge.
But I definitely think you should think of it as a different medium from YouTube. And I think that once you get the game working, it's going to be great. I certainly will be tuning in to watch that. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll be back on it. I was gonna play more tonight, but I don't want to get burnt out. So after we're done with this podcast, I'm gonna hang it up. I'm gonna play off stream a little bit while I eat some dinner. But tomorrow morning when I wake up, we'll do some Mortal Kombat, maybe a little bit of Street Fighter. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Is there anything else that the chat wants to cover? Well, we can do that real quick.
There's one thing maybe we're not prepared to talk about yet, but I want to bring it up. I'm not sure how much you know about Arturo. Maybe he just had a bad night yesterday.
Oh, I've not heard anything about this.
Oh, well.
I'm out of the loop. I'm
a little bit out of the loop, too. I heard there's some more things that happened with it. But Arturo, I think, is going through one of those breaking points with streaming Street Fighter V and competing in Street Fighter V, where he feels like, maybe this is not enough and I got to figure out something else. Like, either he has to quit or step it up. Because the numbers, his stream isn't growing. He brings all his equipment downstairs. He works hard to help run the brackets, have the best streaming experience for everybody. And, the financial support ain't there. That's probably the on the surface problem. It's like this, the money's not there. Because the visual I have in my mind is he didn't win the tournament, and he's looking at the money that he got, and he's looking at the stream, he's looking at the sub count. And he just, maybe it's a depressing feeling to be like, this is not growing.
But what did he do? I'm confused. I'm totally out of the loop. Like, I don't know what he did.
Maybe there's more that he has done, but I think it was just an expression of frustration that...
No, I'm saying I literally have no idea what he did.
Just...
Like, I haven't heard his story. Did he do something silly?
From what I saw on NLBC, it was on NLBC last night. It looked like he sounded defeated, or he wanted to give up, or like this is not working the way I wanted it to.
Okay. All right. So there's a interesting video. I don't know if I can find it, but something similar happened to SummitG. You know SummitG? Do you know the name SummitG?
He's a Twitch broadcaster, right? Maybe he was on a CSGO team, that guy?
Yeah. I can't find the video itself, but basically SummitG would play Counter-Strike. I think that was his main game. And then he basically got huge playing
probably PlayerUnknown or some kind of BR game.
What's that garbage Minecraft game where you shoot each other?
Is it Fortnite?
Yeah, Fortnite.
You are old, Mr. Mark. You are the opposite of a child.
Not too old to troll.
You're the direct opposite.
Not too old to troll. Not too old to troll. I don't really. I just don't care about Fortnite. That's all.
Okay.
You
wanted me to say it? You want me to take the burden? You want me to put the weight of Fortnite's name on my shoulders? All right,
No,
I get it. I'm only 31.
I just love calling it like the Minecraft game because I'm like, why the fuck are people? Why are they building walls? Like whatever. But I'm sure it's a super fun game. Whatever.
But it's not for everybody.
I can't find the SummitG video. SummitG quit Fortnite and changed everything. That might be the video actually. Yeah, that might be the video. So basically, he just started to lose it on stream every day. Like he really, the cracks started to show. Like because he was essentially playing a game that he didn't like playing. It was very frustrating to him, and he was just getting angrier and angrier. Angrier and angrier playing it, and he would just, fucking smash things. Like he would just lose his shit.
Yeah.
And then he would switch over to a game that he liked. The hell is that game?
Under Night in Birth is what you're saying for Arturo. He would switch to Under Night, and then viewers would plummet. Is that where this is going?
Yeah, it could be a similar thing, but basically he started playing Sea of Thieves, right? Now he went. I don't know. I can't remember the numbers. It's in the video, but basically he went from like 60,000 viewers to like 5,000 viewers or 10,000 viewers, something like that. So then he switched back to Fortnite, but then he took a kind of mental health break. Then he came back and he said, "No, you know what? I'm just gonna play what I like, and we're gonna see where it goes." So he played Sea of Thieves, which is a really weird game, man, because there's like hours of you just sitting around doing nothing. So it actually gave him an opportunity to sort of interact with people more. And gradually people came back. They just sort of gave it a go. They thought it was interesting to watch. They'd obviously grown to like him. And he's back to the numbers now that he was at, but he's in a much happier place. And, he freely admits this. He actually watched the video that this guy put together. I think it's this guy / I think this is the video. I'm not 100% sure.
I've actually seen that video.
Oh, you have seen that video?
Probably most people who try to stream fighting games successfully have seen that video. Because it's an important thing to stream something that you find enjoyment in. That's absolutely like, don't stream to don't make this a job. Like, this is not the thing to do. When you're already successful, that's a different story. When you've already established, like, you're basically retired at this point in your streaming career, then you absolutely gotta fight for being a happy person. But people like me, yourself, Arturo, we are not the top 10 streamers on Twitch by any stretch. And that's really why I wanted to get your take on it, or just, I don't know. I don't even know I just want to bring it up.
I haven't seen it, and I'll probably take a look at it after this, to be honest. So I don't have much of a take on it, other than yeah, people can get burnt out, and sometimes you gotta switch to something that you enjoy doing more. Sometimes you got to quit streaming. But for Arturo, like, usually Arturo is in the background, right? Like that was originally like how I saw him, was in the background at NLBC and all that sort of stuff, making things happen.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what happened, but if he's really that unhappy that it's showing and it's reflecting badly on him, then he may want to take a break. He may want to take a break. He may want to have people that he trusts take over some of the responsibilities at NLBC for a week or something, and just take a break. Like, take a chill pill, have a little think about it.
Maybe you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah, there's that too. But maybe you need to mix it up. I don't know, but I can understand that frustration. But I mean, he's like, been streaming forever, before anybody, sort of thing. He goes way back in the day. So yeah. I don't know the answers. I don't know the answer to his problems. Sadly, I didn't see specifically what happened. But he may want to take a look at the SummitG video, because it's a good video.
That's a good response, I think. Yeah, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, sometimes you're in that situation where you can have somebody else tell you just got to keep going, keep grinding it out. You're doing good, you know, but maybe that's not even the right word that you need to hear. Sometimes you just got to take a step back and reevaluate. Taking a break is good, but sometimes you can't afford to. Literally, you might not be able to get the finances you need. You take a break from Twitch for 4 days, you lose a lot
Yeah,
of
or
subs.
take a look at how some of the other streamers are doing it as well. Do a little X copy in terms of some of the things that they do. You know, like putting out videos on YouTube or whatever, which are edited and show some of your personality or whatever. Um,
You know, that makes me think, like, we gotta work together. I think I tried to talk about this last week about streamers working together. I put out a tweet recently about the squad mode streaming in Twitch, where, you know, yeah, Arturo brought that up as well. How he's squad streaming with Spooky, but his numbers are still not really affected by it. Like he's still, but that's also the release of MK. I realize I'm all over the place, but the idea is that how are we gonna grow unless we really, you know, produce content together? Doing it all yourself is incredibly difficult. When I look at other communities like Smash, they got people producing videos for fun and all this other crazy content, and I don't know. I think we gotta do more. Everybody has to do something if we want to make it bigger. But maybe there's more to the story than I can really, you know, put out there.
yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know where to go to find information on this. To be honest, I
At the
imagine it.
at the ground level, there has to be passion for the whatever is bringing people together. So if, for example, Arturo was passionately in love with Street Fighter V, I think he would be unstoppable. But there's a struggle to maintain, and then when you feel like you put a lot of work into something that you're not even deeply in love with, you're not passionate for, you just like it enough, maybe. Then to see the lack of fruits for your labor, it's like, what am I doing? So I can see where he might be coming from. Just, I mean, this could be, might be able to chalk this up to just having a bad night. He didn't win, and then MK11's happening, and then maybe, I don't know. I'm not his brain. It could just be a bad night.
Last time I spoke to him, actually, he was very, very enthusiastic about the old school stuff because I believe he runs something in an arcade which is opposite NLBC, which is maybe just opened up. And he streams there and does a lot of old school stuff.
I don't know if it's still open.
This was fairly recently. I saw him fairly recently, and he was like, "Look, you should come and interview me and show off this place and whatever." And his enthusiasm for that was strong, you know. So maybe there's a part of that as well. Maybe there's this element where he's like adore, you know, and a lot of players are like this, you know, who adore the old school games, and but it doesn't really fit streaming, you know, because unless you're speed running, not so many people seem to be that interested in the competitive environment of old school games, unless it's like once a year and it has Daigo and whoever, and they're playing in, you know, Japan.
It's a bit niche as well. Like even more so than already fighting games are. Like the old retro games, people still love looking at Third Strike, but it's not gonna grow, you know.
I think he has. I think there is an opportunity for him before Samurai Showdown to potentially go through some of those games and the mechanics and like really show people, you know, what's coming in a way. Although at the same time they're doing their own stuff, you know, they're pushing out their own content, they're showing you the game as is, etc., etc. But I don't know. I don't know how to fix whatever issues he's having. My only suggestion is watch the SummitG video, take some time off, and then watch other streamers that are doing a similar sort of thing to you, and consider if there are things that you can do better. I think those would be my three things. I'm good at giving advice, but not following it. That's sort of what I do.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Do you want to wrap this one up? Because
that sounds good to me.
Yeah, because that's like an hour or something, and we can upload it to YouTube and stuff.
That's cool. I'm glad we toughed it out. I messaged you earlier. I'm a little burnt out. Got some things going on, but we good.
You and I have both had weird weeks. You and I have both had weird weeks. So everyone, chat out there, just so you know, I don't think our eyes have been on the ball as much as they should be this week. But
yeah, we're people too.
We're people too. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're in the public eye now. The small public eye. We're in a small corner, but we're not people. We're targets for the stream monsters.
All right, before we go, I'm gonna pretend like I have advertisements to look at. I'm gonna look at our document. Oh, we got advertisements. Us. Hello, guys. I'm AutoMattock. Twitch.tv/AutoMattock. You're here. Twitter @AutoMattock, and I'm joined by Born Free. You want to plug your social media?
My social media? Yeah, sure. Come find me. I'll probably be on tomorrow, I expect. But come find me at Born Free Twitch. So Born Free Twitch is my stream, obviously, and then good to follow me for all notifications is Born Free Tweets. So Born Free Tweets at Born Free Tweets.
Thank you very much, sir. I just put it in the chat, and thank you very much, Strider0, for gifting us up to Jabroni Kenshin. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
That is good stuff. Well done. Thank you, Strider.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Born Free.
So is that a green screen of a green screen? Is that the real green screen, or is that fake green screen?
This is the real one that I was blessed by. I used to have poster board on this wall taped on it, and then I had a really big green screen that took up the whole thing, but it wasn't high enough. And now I have more space with this one, but it's awfully pricey. But I was generously given. It was given to me by TrueViewer.
I need some of your gifters. I need some of your gifters to come my way. What
shout outs to Whitey.
But you offer something very special. So how much is that green screen, by the way?
Oh my gosh, it's 3 digits. It's 3 digits.
Oh, really?
It's really nice. It's really nice.
I have a curtain like this here. I don't use it. I use it only for skits. But I have this here is part of a massive fucking frame I have going up across the room. I have a curtain. You can't see it, but maybe I'll tweet that out at some point. It's so archaic. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, green screens are a little overrated. I got these umbrella lights. I always feel like I'm a plant. And then I got this green screen directly by like right here is where the green screen is. So I can't really move too much backwards. I'm stuck. I got this desk in front of me where I play on Hitbox. So I'm just in this little space for 4 to 8 hours a day. But it's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, if you start like smashing things and getting upset, SummitG video.
Oh, I'm not there yet. Hopefully I don't get there.
SummitG video.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Thanks for having us. And thanks for the questions and all the chat. It's been fun.
I'll see you on the other side.
Until next time.